Hair loss. Touched on this a little earlier in the program. It can really be devastating for some people. It's a lot to go through. We've spoke to many people who've lost their hair, both men and women, on this program, and there are ways that you can deal with it. Some people go for a week. You can comb it over a bit. You can even have surgery now, hair transplant surgery, but that does cost a fortune. My next guest offers an alternative, something called scalp micropigmentation. Well, I think I'll get him to tell you what it is. I'm joined by Darren Herbert now. You've been on the show before, Darren, but it's always good to have a catch-up. It's quite a while ago, isn't it, you were on?
Yeah, I think it was like about a year ago that we was on here, so it's good to be in the studio. And yeah, basically we can talk about how it's been going and you know, speak to a client of mine and see how happy they are with a year on.
So tell us what scalp micropigmentation is then.
So basically it's like a tattoo, although you're not using ink, you're using a pigment that I mix. So I basically look at the client, I'll have to mix. It's basically a water-based solution with a carbon-based pigment. Mix that to a colour to match your hair follicle. So if you've got basically thinning hair, then I can tattoo within the hair to add density. So you're just, it's the illusion of follicles. So don't get it mixed up with like hair. We're not creating the look of hair. So it is just the follicle, and it makes the hair look denser. If you have complete balding, you can basically tattoo the whole head and redesign the hairline.
And you've had that done on your head?
I have. Yeah, I did it myself.
You've got a hairline there, haven't you?
I have got a hairline, yeah.
And it just looks like you've had your hair cut to what, a 0 grade or a 1
buzz
grade?
cut, I think it is, isn't it? Like a buzz cut or like a skin fade, maybe. But yeah, it does look really good. So
if a lot of men and women suffer with a little bit of a crow's nest, it starts to recede from the back of their
crown.
Yeah. Can you do that?
Yeah, you can do that. It depends on where you want to go with it. You know, you can, like I say, if you've got hair there and it's thinning, you can add the treatment in there to add the density. You know, or if you're confident enough and you want a shaved look, you can get rid of the baldness completely and you'll just look like you've got a shaved head, basically.
This is something you're very passionate about. You used to be an ambulance driver, didn't you?
I did,
and
yeah.
You quit that job to do this full-time?
Yeah, I did. So I did that for 9 years, along with having a windsurfing school and a paddleboarding school. Unfortunately, COVID hit them pretty bad, and I was still working on the ambulance service. So I just wanted to do something that was fresh and new. I even said to my friends, I don't know where I want to go. I always knew where I wanted to go with my life, but at that stage I didn't. And they said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, it'd be cool if something just appeared, something I didn't even know existed. And somehow I was quite good at it, you know, and this is the road that I went down. So
you're full of tattoos. You've got a lot of tattoos anyway.
I've got
all over your arms. You've got them on your neck as well. Is that where the idea came from? Kind of mixing the two together.
To be honest, I don't know how the actual original idea originated from, because I think the treatment's been going for about 15-20 years. With cosmetics, you'd think something like this would originate from somewhere like California. You know, it's cosmetic central, but it actually comes from Birmingham. So it's a British-based idea, which is pretty good. And yeah, so I don't know how that originated, but the way I think I came across it, I was watching, this is like my guilty pleasure, but I was watching Married at First Sight Australia.
Right, okay.
And there's a guy on there, and he had it done, but you wouldn't know. Like, looking at him, you know, you wouldn't know. And there was something on after the show where, you know, the follow-up or whatever after the show, and that was his line of work. He was doing this, and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. And I looked into it more. And, you know, my windsurfing background, if they took a really good picture of me doing a trick and something, like the picture would look really good, you know, the way the board is and, you know, the light, the wave, everything. But I would always pick up on where my hair was. I wasn't happy with it, you know, and everyone's got their own insecurities, and that was mine. So I sort of thought, yeah, that would be really good to instead of me just having the treatment, to train and do it. And that took me down that path. So I'm really glad I did it. I kind of feel it's a bit weird. I feel I get more gratitude from doing this than when I was working on the ambulance service. Wow. Because it's very, you know, people, you don't realize people's stories. And, you know, some of the stories I could say about some of the clients, I'm not going to say them because obviously, you know, that's very personal to them. But, you know, you wouldn't believe some of the insecurities and how that sort of shapes their life. They're so insecure that they don't do this and they don't do that, and they go, you know, and I kind of I didn't realise how big it was until I started meeting these people, you know, because mine was like, if we were out and I was with some friends and they wanted to go into a wine bar, you know, I wasn't too happy not wearing my hat. So, you know, if we'd go up and the doorman would say you'd have to take your hat off, I wouldn't feel very, I didn't, sometimes I didn't even want to go in. I think like, you know,
it bothered you that much?
I'd convince them to go, oh, come on, let's just go down to the pub where there's a band on, you know, rather than going there because I have to take my hat off. So, you know, until you start meeting these people, you might think some of the stories, they're made up, you know, like very far-fetched, but they're not. Like it affects people different ways.
And it's not just men who you perform this procedure on, is it? It's women as well.
Yeah, that's right. I think last year we had one of my clients on. She had alopecia, so I treated her whole head. I had to design, you know, like sideburns and fine hair around the neck, which it took a lot of work. And she was an absolute champion. The way she sat there, because she's probably the most I've spent on someone, like hours. So she sat perfectly still, you know, and she just, you know, she's in her like 70s. So it's just, she's, you know, good credit to her to sit there for like, I think we was on it for about 4.5 days. So four sessions, probably about 6 hours. Obviously did it in like stints where she'd go and have something to eat and, you know, walk, because you're sitting there for so long, you need to move around, don't you? Get the circulation going. So, but she, you know, she did it really well. So
let's chat to someone who you've helped, someone else who you performed this procedure on. What's this chap called?
Gary.
All right, we've got Gary on the line. Hi, Gary.
Oh, hello. Yeah, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. We've got Darren with us, as you know. Can you tell us how Darren helped you? What have you had done?
He completely transformed my life. I've got my confidence back. For many, many years, probably about 30 years, I completely had no hair at all, apart from a little bit of the sides and the back. And I looked at the micropigmentation. Out of all the people I see, Darren seemed the kind of guy for me. You know, even though I had to travel like a vast distance to go to him each time from Hertfordshire, and he matched the colour perfectly. There's like 10 variables, I think. He'll be able to correct me on that if I'm wrong, but 10 variables of colour, and he absolutely nailed it. I mean, it matched straight away, but now it looks completely natural. It looks like literally I just sort of like, I've done it this morning actually, just before Darren phoned up. Like I sort of like use hair clippers that he told me to use. It just looks like I've got a number one all over, and it transformed my life. I mean, I used to, like Darren, I used to go into pubs like with a hat on of various descriptions, and I'm quite happy now. I wear a hat like because it's cold at the moment. Once I go in the pub, like I will later on, I just take the hat off and I look in the mirror like, and I can see that hairline. And I see a friend at the weekend I haven't seen for 6 years, and I took my hat off, and he said, Gerald, he said, you're looking younger. I can't work out. You look younger. It matches in that much. I've only had my sister, my ex, and even my friend. I'm going down Bristol like next weekend. I've known her since 2006. She hasn't noticed. She just thinks I look younger. She just thinks they can't work it out, because a lot of people don't know about this procedure, and of course other people have other procedures like, you know, hair transplants and all that.
Yeah.
Great. But with me, it wouldn't have worked anyway, because you've got to have a certain amount of hair. I've looked into it at the back and the sides, and you've got to have strong follicles. With blonde hair, you don't get that. So that Darren's procedure was the obvious way to go for me. Wow. And at a marks of 10, if I could possibly give 11, I mean, I've spoke to Darren before, like, you know, about this. It's transformed my life. I can't explain it.
It sounds like it is. You're completely full of confidence, Gary. Did it hurt?
No, it's just like I've had 2 other tattoos before, so I knew what to expect. No, it's, you know, I mean, might be a little bit tingling or whatever at times, but to be honest with you, no, not at all. Doesn't hurt at all. And I recommend anyone out there, like, and it's affordable as well. Excuse me. That's the thing I liked about it, is it's well within someone's budget to do. Whereas even if someone has got sort of like strong hair follicles at the side and the back, you know, you're talking about 25, 30 grand or something and then it falls out. I mean, look at, there's some guys, you know, I can mention his name, he won't mind, I'm sure, like Wayne Rooney, like, I've done a couple of times. It doesn't, and Robbie Williams, it doesn't last forever, and it does fall out. As you get older, it falls out. This is mine hasn't changed at all. I mean, Darren said to me, do you want to come up for a top-up, gal? And I
He was
don't
all
feel it.
reluctant to.
And I'm like, well, I asked my sister. My biggest critic is my sister. Like, and the first time she said, "Wow, gal, what have you done with your hair?" And I said, "What?" She said, "Your hair's grown back." And I said, "Honestly, no word of a lie." I told Darren, like, she said, "Your hair's grown back." And I told her, I sat her down and told her about it, and she said, "Gal,
Right.
it's the best thing you've ever done. It's taken 30 years off of you."
Gary,
It is pretty convincing. It does, it does give the illusion of hair follicles and shaped
Gary,
hair.
I'm sure you'll feature in Darren's first TV advert if he ever does that. Listen,
Well,
good to chat to you, man.
I always told Darren, because I've done pantomime and I've done a little bit of like acting and stuff. Like, I said, if you ever
Going
want
into acting
anyone, if you ever want anyone to sort of like, any people that's on the fence, like thinking, shall I have it done or shall I not? Go and get it done, folks, because it's worth every single penny. It's affordable. And Darren's a lovely fellow.
I can see you wandering down Felixstowe High Street now, Gary, saying, "Hello, I'm Gary. I was bald. Now look at me." Listen, mate, thanks for chatting.
I really can't explain it, my friend. It gave my confidence back. And like I said, Darren said to me, "Do you want to come up like for a top up?" I don't really. It's over yearly.
Right, Gaz, we got to go.
Okay.
But thank you. Well, you certainly made a difference to his life.
I know.
Listen, let's look at the serious side of this. It's clearly helped Gary's confidence there. When you do this, you say people are so grateful, and it's clearly making a difference. If you are bothered about thinning, you either can tattoo over scars as well, can't you?
Yeah, you can. If you've got scar tissue there, it leaves the scar tissue looks quite white and it is very prominent, so you can tattoo into that, and it basically you completely lose the tattoo. So like Gary mentioned, it is affordable. It depends on your budget, as in like if you've got the money and you want it done within a month, you can come in and get it done. If you want to do it, so you're doing it over a time.
I think time has called us up, Daz. I think people need to check out your website.
Yeah, no worries.
You've got your own shop now as well, so the business is doing really well, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got two. So we've got one in Norfolk and we've got one here, Adam and Eve's Barber and Hairdressers, just up the road here on Bramford Road. And so check it out. It's octoinc.smp.co.uk. And we were on Instagram and Facebook. And
it's really nice to see someone at the beginning of a journey when we spoke to you over a year ago, and now see you. It's gone from strength to strength. So well done, man.
One thing I could mention is just basically the hardest thing about this treatment is afterwards, because you want to get your work out there on social media and things like that. But a lot of people that have the treatment, they're overjoyed about it, but they are very reluctant to have the pictures because it does really look like hair. So they don't really want people to know that they've actually had the procedures. And that's understandable,
Yes, it's hard for you to kind of say, look, this is what I've done.
Yeah, this is what I've done. You can't get to showpiece your work sometimes because they're reluctant to have it.
In a hairdressers, they'll have pictures of people with lovely hair. You can't
put it on social media because a lot of people don't want people to know.
It's interesting. They need to contact you to find out more, don't they? Octo Inc. SMP. Stick that in your search engine. Darren, thanks for coming in.
No worries.
Been nice to chat to you.
I'll bring a call.